It's an entrepreneurial business. You get an inbound, you think, yeah, great, and you make it happen. There's never a question as whether it's the right or wrong thing to do. You just do it because you want to do it and you want the business to grow.
Juliet Barratt, co-founder of Grenade, the global health and fitness brand that went from kitchen table startup to £200 million exit.
The week before the sale, I was absolutely distraught. So I was in tears, and it was this thought that something that you'd worked so hard at, that was so part of you, that you'd lived and breathed for 10, 11 years, suddenly wasn't going to be part of you anymore. It's almost like grieving, that you're grieving something that you built that is no longer yours. I'm a massive believer in making every day count, because you genuinely don't know how many days you've got left. And even if you have a shit day, it's still a great day, and anything can be turned into a positive. So I'm all for making every day count now. Even it's the little things, they all matter.
You know, we're going to talk about brand and huge success, but what people see isn't always the reality. And I know you did, Grenade wasn't your first business, it wasn't your first venture. So can we talk a little bit about the early days, Julia, and how life actually started in a business context for you?
Yeah, of course. So I had a very sort of traditional background, school, university, and then I actually qualified as a teacher. But I was like the shittest teacher out there. So I think Cameron Diaz, bad teacher, but not as hot. So I taught geography and PE, and like we watched a lot of videos. And I think, you know, everyone says about when you start a business, it's like the day you actually start that business. But I actually see teaching as a massive learning curve for me, because it taught me what I didn't want to do. And it taught me that having my life ruled by a bell and like lots of structure just didn't work for me. So I spent a very short time being a rubbish teacher. And then I went to the Jam House in Birmingham, got absolutely hammered, and met Al. And that was really the start of the Grenade story. He had a distribution business before, so selling other products to gyms and health clubs. So I went to work with him, or for him rather, as he would like to say, in that business. And I think it was that experience of selling other people's products to gyms and health club, we realised that we could do it. And I always say better, but I don't mean better because that sounds arrogant. I mean, we could do it differently. And that's when we realised that we wanted our own brands, and we would market it very differently from what was out there. And that was the start of Grenade.
So early days. So as you say, well, I think when we were talking, when we caught up the other week, you said something like, I know you had like work experience of how many years was it before you started Grenade? 15 years, 10 years?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, the work experience is like the teaching when you realise what you don't want to do. And then it's working for, you know, selling other people's products to gyms and health clubs, and learning about the marketing and what customers want and what they buy, and, you know, what's important to them. So yeah, that was that sort of 15 years work experience.
Well, they say, don't you, like 10 years to become an overnight success, or whatever the number is. But so when you and Al got together, it was a romantic kind of engagement in the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Really? And then how did you know that you could actually tolerate each other to start a business together? Because it is always difficult when you're in a personal relationship. We know we heard from Maxine and Darby about relationships being mother and daughter. But for you and Al, you were partners, you were romantically together.
Yeah.
How did you know you could tolerate each other from a business point of view?
I mean, as soon as we met, he was taking pictures of girls, and that sounds really wrong, but they were on a hen night or something. And so I thought he's either a really nice guy or a complete pervert. And it turned out that he was a really nice guy. And, you know, we went on holiday after 3 weeks, got engaged after 5 weeks, got married after 9 months. So we're get shit done type of people. And, you know, we met, we knew it was right. We were completely aligned with our values, and we knew that we both had very, very different skill sets. And a lot of people think, well, you know, you were married and you ran the business, but actually there was a reason that we should have met, and it was to run the business. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean.
But you had different roles. So you were more on the marketing side, weren't you? And I was more sort of overseeing the general sort of running of the business.
Yeah, right. Definitely. And like, you know, as Maxine said, so I could always say, you know, what Maxine and Darcy said, but, you know, we had complete trust with each other, and we had very different skill sets. So Al did the sales and the MPD, I did the marketing and everything else really. And we never, ever butted heads on the business. We were completely aligned. But also we had the respect for each other, that we let each other go and do their stuff and then came back together. There was never this nitpicking about, oh, I want to do this in marketing, or I want to do that in sales, because it just never would have worked. So we were completely aligned and trusted each other.
So let's talk about the brand, right? Because really, well, impactful name and a really powerful brand. I mean, most people in the room here, most people here, raise your hand if you'd heard of Grenade as a brand?
Thank God for that.
It was a risky question, Juliet, but I thought I'd go there. I'm confident that there was going to be a big hand raise. So you built a powerful brand that is nationally known now, and internationally, actually, isn't it? But in those early days, how did you come up with the name? How did you come up with the concept? Because I think that product innovation in the early days, a lot of businesses don't get it right at the beginning. Well, you guys seem to kind of hit on it pretty early on once you decided what you wanted to do. So talk us through the brand journey and the name side of it, if that's all right.
I mean, everything at that time in 2010, it was like a sports nutrition product. So everything was sold in very generic white tubs with scientific names like Xenadrin, Zedracut, Hydroxycut. And nobody could remember what they were called when they stepped outside of the gym or the health club. So I think, with any business, there's always a little bit of the founders in all of the products. And, being a bit sort of strange, eccentric, that had to come through in our products. And I was obsessed with paintballs. So the back of our garage at home looked like some sort of arms dealership. And we had a lot of friends in the military. And when we used to go on holiday, literally used to sit there watching the military channel. So, seeing the grenade shape, it just sort of clicked. And I hate that light bulb moment because I never think that really happens. But it just felt right. And so much, you as founders, as entrepreneurs, is so much is about gut feeling. And we knew that if we had something that was in a grenade-shaped container, it didn't matter what language you spoke, where you were in the world, it would translate and people would know what that product was called by the look and feel of it.
And the name itself then, did you have a think tank? Did you have a little group session? Where did the actual name come from then?
A friend tried one of the products. We used to use our friends as guinea pigs. And he tried it and he went, shit, that was like a grenade. Actually, I think he said a word in front of shit, but you get the gist. And he was like, that was a grenade going off. And it just felt right. And, I'm all for that gut feeling. And I think Maxine said, or Darcy, you can overanalyze and overthink and you never fucking do anything. So for us, it just felt right and we did it and it worked. And I think because we completely believed in that and were behind it, everything we did was focused on that grenade, so we never deviated from that really strong, distinctive brand.
And then so the very first product. Then talk us through the first product, and then how the product kind of evolved after that. Because I know you kept it very tight. It wasn't like you produced a huge range of stuff. You kept it quite tight, didn't you?
Yeah.
You did change the products a little bit over the time, didn't you? Added to it.
Yeah. So when we launched, we always wanted to be the Red Bull of sports nutrition. So we wanted one product that was really distinctive that said what it did on the tin. Because again, as been mentioned earlier, people will only buy your product if it works. You might get one sale, but for them to keep buying it and keep buying it, they've got to trust it. They need to like it and they need to feel some sort of effect. So, we started with a caffeine-based product. You could really feel it working, caffeine, green tea, bitter orange in it. All those ingredients that gave you a real smack in the face. And actually, it was a weight loss product. And the one thing that most people in sports nutrition wanted to do was to lose weight. So, we really set our stall out. We only ever wanted one product, but because it was in a grenade-shaped container, it looked a bit gimmicky. And actually, one of the buyers at Juliet Barratt said to us, well, are you going to bring out any other products? Because to have a real credible brand, you probably need a range. You don't just want a one-hit wonder. So then we started to do other sports nutrition products, so pre-workouts, creatines, proteins, etc. But the flagship product of Grenade in the early days was that thermo detonator.
Okay. And given that it was a caffeine-based product, because as you were talking, I was thinking, all right, did you ever get any backlash on that at all, or any kind of negativity around that caffeine kind of hit? Because now, I guess today, we're a bit more conscious about caffeine, caffeine-free products and stuff. So was there any sort of backlash or pushback at all?
No, never. I mean, there was a bit of talk in Europe about caffeine being banned, and I think that's why we got one round of investment. But, caffeine for me is life. If I didn't have coffee, I'd be so miserable. You're never going to appeal to anyone. So if, you're talking to the decaf people over there in the green t-shirt, then you're never going to appeal to them. But there are a lot of people in sports nutrition that were taking caffeine-based products.
If this conversation resonated with you, don't just sit there, act on it. Make sure you follow or subscribe for more game-changing conversations, and remember, the only thing standing between you and your business breakthrough is the decision to screw it and just do it.